Good morning and welcome to the Renfrew Copeman's House Chapel presentation.
Our first hymn will be hymn number 9, the Renfrew House hymn, Joyful, Joyful.
Please stand. Oh, you're stand.
Thank you. Please be seated. A reading from the Gospel of Luke. Jesus told his disciples a parable to show them that they should always pray and not give up. He said, "In a certain town there was a judge who neither feared God nor cared what people thought. And there was a widow in the town who kept coming to him with the plea, 'Grant me justice against my adversary.' For some time he refused, but finally he said to himself, 'Even though I don't fear God or care what people think, yet because this widow keeps bothering me, I will see that she gets justice, so that she won't eventually come and attack me.' Listen to what the unjust judge says, and will not God bring about justice for his chosen ones who cry out to him day and night? Will he keep putting them off? I tell you, he will see that they get justice, and quickly." The Gospel of Christ.
Good morning and welcome to the Copeman's and Renfrew House Chapel service. If you don't know who I am, my name is Dylan Chowdhury, and this is my 5th year here at Shawnigan. After consulting with the other grade 12s and a few others, Hallie and I felt a theme of grit and perseverance would be best. I personally have found this to be a theme throughout my time here at Shawnigan, and Copeman's has helped instill this in me. When I was brainstorming what to write for this speech, my roommate, Taiki Kimura, compared the Shawnigan experience to surfing a wave at sea. He suggested it takes tremendous courage and determination, let's call it grit, to ride the wave effectively. There may come a time when you feel like you're going to be crushed by that wave, that you may be pulled underwater and pinned to the seabed. That is when grit and mental toughness is needed most. In life, everyone goes through dark times, but nothing can beat grit. Grit and perseverance are traits that I have learned to embrace while here at Shawnigan, and I am grateful for this. It is something that everyone should try to have, if I'm being honest. People have become a lot more focused on the excuse they are going to give rather than the hard work they could put in. It wasn't too long ago when our society had this wrong and was too focused on pushing through the pain. It was all about toughening up and not showing discomfort. The British even coined a phrase for this, to have a stiff upper lip. As a result, the pendulum has now swung the totally opposite direction, and we are constantly looking for the easy way out. I have noticed this change both inside and outside the gates of Shawnigan. I mean no offense to parents when I say kids have started to become babied and are not being allowed to fail. I don't blame parents. They just love their kids unconditionally and want the best for them. Seeking to develop self-esteem and self-confidence, parents devote themselves to telling kids how great and amazing they are and make sure they don't experience that gut-wrenching emotion that comes with failure. Yet, ironically, this act of protecting their kids from anxiety and distress has caused a lack of ability to move forward in life. How will someone learn from mistakes if they are never allowed to make those mistakes? Falling and getting back up time after time is essential to learn when growing up. As we look forward to our final months here at Shawnigan, I hope we realize that with mental toughness, determination, and grit, our goals can be achieved and our lives brightened. I want to end my words this morning with a quote from the late, great Kobe Bryant. I have nothing in common with lazy people who blame others for their lack of success. Great things come from hard work and perseverance. Grit, no excuses. Thank you. I would now like to invite Owen Evers for a reading.
A reading from the letter of Paul to the Corinthians. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one receives the prize? Run in such a way as to take the prize. Everyone who competes in the games trains with strict discipline. They do it for a crown that is perishable, but we do it for a crown that is imperishable. Therefore, I do not run aimlessly. I do not fight like I am beating the air. No, I discipline my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified. The word of the Lord. I'd now like to invite up Alan Lynn for the musical presentation.
So the song I'll be playing today is called Innocent. It's from the movie Castle in the Sky, and it really does speak on a lot of things. Dedication, fear, hope, but above all, courage and perseverance. I hope you enjoy.
you, Alan. 5 years. It really flies by, doesn't it? One moment, you're in grade 8, entering the glistening, pearly Shawnigan gates with wide eyes and braces. Then you blink, and you're catapulted years in the future. You're in grade 12. You've got low iron and a 74 in French. A lot can change in 5 years. And yet, 5 years, when you think about it, is a long time. That's half a decade. That's how long it takes to grow bamboo. That's 400 times as long as the voyage of the Titanic. I think it's also a David Bowie song. Not only surviving, but thriving 5 years in one place takes grit. It takes determination. It takes perseverance. Okay, story time. This is an immersive experience, so if you please, I want you to close your eyes and imagine a fierce heroine, the essence of competence and confidence. She's effervescing with skill and composure. She's beauty, she's grace. She might as well be Miss United States. Now imagine the opposite and you have me at 12 years old. I was pretty good at public speaking, but that was rehearsed and practiced. Me, spontaneously striking up a conversation? Never. Talking to the grade 12s in Renfrew besides my big sister? Forget it. Having confidence enough to sing in front of people, even my own friends? You're hallucinating. It took me a serious amount of grit to get where I am today, an ambivert, leaning on the extroverted side. In 5 years, I persevered through the quietness, took off the mask, showing what I am today, who I was always meant to be. Just to be clear, there's nothing wrong with being quiet or introverted, but for me, I knew it never felt right, and it was just an outer layer that needed to be broken out of. When I first think of the word grit, I gotta say, I think of big accomplishments being done, big tasks being followed through, shooting for the stars and working your tail off to get there, and all that. I don't think of a simple thing like a change in social classification as something that takes a terrible amount of grit. Grit is pushing through and emerging through the other end against all odds, isn't it? This makes us think that you have to go through something monumental to be considered as having mental toughness and perseverance. You've all heard the expression, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. How horribly cliche. How about this one by John Wayne? True grit is making a decision and standing by it, doing what must be done. No moral man can have peace of mind if he leaves undone what he knows he should have done. That's all. Grit is not necessarily having these huge goals, tasks, and aspirations, though those are important too. Finishing that marathon, curing that disease, for someone can take no more grit than someone else finishing that conversation, getting out of bed, or breaking out of their introverted shell. Renfrew displays a ridiculous amount of grit through the everyday. Sarah Boot has the determination to never get to bed on time. Ruby and Janny have the mental toughness to come up with every excuse why they need their phones during prep. And Kylie Kim is consistent and driven in her daily bag of popcorn at around 9 p.m. It's the little things that we push through, the small endeavors and obstacles that we overcome. It's studying for that test when all you feel like doing is watching The Bachelor. It's sitting with that person at dinner that you'd rather not be sitting with. It's working through tough family situations day by day, or recognizing that something you've done is wrong and risking everything to make it right. This is grit. Thank you. I'd now like to invite up Tyke and Bridget for the prayers.
We take a moment to pray for our needs and the needs of the world. Please respond to the bidding, Lord, in your mercy, with hear our prayer. We pray for perseverance, courage, and fortitude. Lord, in your mercy. We pray for safety as we travel during the spring break, and that we all might find the rest and rejuvenation that we need. Lord, in your mercy. We pray for the poor and the homeless, and underprivileged and oppressed. Lord, in your mercy.
We pray in thanksgiving for our lives at Shawnigan, for friendship, learning, and growth. Lord, in your mercy. We pray for those afflicted with the coronavirus and for those working to contain it. Lord, in your mercy. We take a brief moment to consider any needs in our hearts. Lord in your mercy. And now, hymn number 2, Lift High the Cross. Please stand.
Thanks, Rev. From me, just to thank the Cross of Copeman's and the Cougars of Renfrew for your contributions. Particularly exciting to have Copeman's up at the front. I'm used this year to you being banished at the back, but to hear you in full voice up front. And to thank you. The theme was grit and perseverance. We're, of course, in the last week of term. Everyone's a little tired and exhausted, and there you are, showing your energy, your grit, your determination, and your perseverance to deliver this. And thanks in particular to Hallie and Dylan for leading the charge on that. Of course, I love mottos, and I'd just like someone in Renfrew to tell me what the Latin motto is for Renfrew. Okay, we're going for the house director here. There's a look of absolute horror. It's a difficult one. Give it nice and loudly in English. Soli paulum unita tantum. Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. And I think this service embodies that, and also embodies how the school has responded. Of course, we've been observing very carefully what's happening in the world over the last month in relation to COVID-19, and I'm so proud of the solidarity shown by our students and our staff and our community in response to this. We are just about to launch into a set of trips and tours. My message is remember your ambassadors for Shawnigan, and please cherish that as you step into those trips. Have a wonderful time. A little reminder that the deadline for submissions, if you want to meet Michelle Obama at the end of March, is at lunchtime today. I think MCB used the word lunch earlier this week, or the expression finish strong. We do have a couple of days left. So let's finish strong to the end. And finally, if the Rev can re-emerge, if he's out there, if you can see him, Mr. McLeod, that I want to finish by saying, as I walked into chapel today, the Rev pointed out that he'd had a haircut just for this chapel service. I thought it was for his Camino and part of spiritual cleansing and from the pilgrimage, but his dedication to these two boarding houses. But it is my opportunity. So many people have said to me this week how wonderful the second half of term has been in terms of the quality, the delivery of chapel, the student initiatives that underpin our chapel services, and how much everyone's been looking forward to coming to chapel. Lots of student initiatives there, but we know the magician, the person who has their finger on the pulse and understands the barometer of the school, is the Rev. And I would like to thank the Rev for his magical work behind the scenes in relation to chapel. Lots of us contribute to chapel, and there are lots of sort of invisible contributors, and the other person I want to thank is Miss Daniel, who stoically is here throughout the term, playing away up on the organ and delivering for us. So thank you, Miss Daniel, for all your work. So finish strong, and Miss Daniel, play us away, please.